Oh shit. How is everybody in the plane of existence that we have to deal with? Swipe this so I can actually read. Me canky eye. Anyone else have this thing where the eye just feels like it gets poked in the middle of the night? If you lie back too straight, maybe it's crusted sleep falling into the eye. Who knows? But it just feels like I'm taking a big old eye poke, Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad in the middle of the night, and I have to get up and walk around and let the water run out. No idea why. Hey. No, it's Banana Horlicks. Banana Horlicks is a very good revelation. Super nice drink. Ghost goat. Ghost goat. Funny combination. But yeah, Banana Horlicks is banging. One of my favourite new drinks. I didn't realise Banana Horlicks was so up the wazoo with vitamins and minerals. Crazy time to be alive. I need to try... Fuck, it's going to fall apart. I need to try the other flavours of Horlicks. I need to try original Horlicks. I think I'm new to the Horlicks. I think I've popped my Horlicks chinny. You think you'll get another chance in the UFC? I need to keep myself healthy. I need to get back into competing. You know, there's guys in the last season of Contender Series. There was a guy who I didn't think... He didn't have a fight for 1 or 2 years. He fought in Contender Series. Didn't fight for about 2 years. And then his fight was... like he returned on Contender Series. So there's the opportunity there. I don't want to sit around on my keister. As soon as I'm healthy, I want to scrap. How do I actually get an MMA fight? I am 15. Now in the UK, MMA rules are different for under 16s. There's generally no head contact. It's pretty much a grappling match with body hooks and leg kicks. So just keep getting experience in different martial arts. And in terms of getting a fight, you know, because every coach has this. Every coach has a million people come in every day and ask, when do I fight? When do I fight? How can I fight? How can I fight? When we just want you to enjoy yourself and get good. Enjoy yourself is a liberal term. We want you to suffer a bit, but we want you to get good and actually enjoy the martial art. Because the reality of how prepared you need to be for a fight, for a lot of people, it's pretty crazy. But just go to a good MMA gym and train. Fall in love with it first, because you're only a beginner once, except for all the other years you're a beginner. When did I start MMA? At the age of 15, just before I turned 16. I am now 27. Almost as old as Ted Mosby in season 2 of How I Met Your Mother. You trying to get in the UFC? Yeah, that's the goal. Few upsets, but it's still the goal. How come you weren't at the last Interclub? I think I had something on then. Been doing kickboxing for 6 months and starting MMA next week. Any tips? Don't, you know, you've only done kickboxing 6 months. Don't go into the session thinking, this is what I know in kickboxing, so I'm going to be a kickboxer guy and no one's going to take me down. Go on MMA, completely be in it, and enjoy everything. I met you in the queue for 167 Unplugged. Were you the guy we talked about Pro Evolution Soccer 5 soundtracks with? I'll remember, yeah. Any chocolate milk today? Unfortunately, no, but I might get a litre later on after training. I've had Y food, this German meal replacement thing, and I'm probably going to have a chocolate protein shake. So I'll have about a litre of chocolate milk. Young lad with his dad. Oh, we could have talked about Pro Evolution Soccer 6. Do you know Dr. Richard Miller from RGA Books? I probably will. But I'm terrible with names, even in my own circle and faces. Any tips for recovery? I'm always sore before my next session. Sometimes just that little bit of movement that's not super high intensity might be what you need to get a bit of recovery. Thanks for these roses. In terms of actually proven stuff. It's not about a million different bizarre pervy massage techniques. It's get enough protein, get good sleep. If you need to move around a little bit, have a little bit of an active move around. I love Savat. Savat's brilliant. Ever since I watched the Human Weapon episode, thanks for the roses, about Savat, where they were talking about the chasse bar, they trained with this guy who got both his arms broken in a fight, and then he managed to win just by hopping around and kicking with 2 broken arms. Ooh, spaffing the roses. Thank you very much. But yeah, Savat's brilliant. Loads of techniques from Savat in MMA. The chasse bar. The chasse bar being the main one. I need to watch some Savat fights. There was a Savat guy who really outpointed Raymond Deckers in a fight. Thanks for the roses. So Harry Sensei Winter Interclub. I should be at the next Interclub, whenever that is. Oh yeah, it's Paul's birthday. He's got a new opponent. His new opponent is probably better than his last one. But I'm not super clued up on either. You recommend? Pro Evolution Soccer 5? 6? I always recommend. This is a rich tea. Whoa. Thoughts on Gaethje Holloway and UFC 300 on a whole? 300 is an alright event. The one parameter to make UFC 300 a good event has been met. And all I care about with UFC 300 is that Jim Miller fights on it. Jim Miller's fighting someone who a ref nearly let die in his last fight, but is a great fighter, Bobby Green. I just want Jim Miller to do well, because I love Jim Miller with all of my soul, whole, and otherwise. Top 5 favourite fighters. Thanks for the role. Top 5 favourite fighters, if I just spaff off names. The ones that come to my head: Jim Miller, David Tamer, Gregor Gillespie, Charles Oliveira, Demetrius Johnson. How's the jaw? I can bevo these rich teas if they're soft enough. How long does it take to condition shins? Years. Absolutely years and years and years. If you type in how to condition, you already know how to condition your shins. Kick a bag and train for years and years and years. These things where people hammer their shins with ice, hammer their shins with foam rollers, they're like get rich quick schemes for conditioning your shins. Doesn't work. Doesn't really work at all. You're probably going to slow it down by giving yourself stress fractures. Stress fractures, that's a fun one to say with my current jaw situation. Stress fractures, which might impede your ability to train, cause injuries, not the best. Just practice your technique, and then you get on like reasonable bags. You can move up to slightly harder bags. Just practice good kicks, and then you get really good kicks at the same time. You don't just get a few kicks and then really sore shins. Kabuli with bologna and green chutney. Post-iftar Kabuli is the way. Got a fight coming up next month. Any advice for controlling anxiety? First of all, I would say it's a good thing you're anxious. It's a good thing you're nervous, because it shows you respect the reality of what a fight is. If you weren't anxious, if you weren't nervous at all, you're in Wonderland. You don't know what you're doing. So those levels of anxiousness and nerves, that's good to a certain extent. In terms of that, otherwise you can just prepare yourself as best as you possibly can. You can kind of bridge the gap with spars outside of your normal environment. So like sparring at another gym can help be a little way to bridge the gap between not having competitive experience and that fight experience. But other than that, just don't try and fight the nerves. Just get a good warm-up and you'll be sound. Headed to eat some kavli today after iftar. Yes. Mashallah. Bologna, green chutney. I haven't seen the new Roadhouse. I had no intention of ever watching it, but then I saw the scene with the sandwiches, and I'm desperate to watch it, and TikTok's flooding me with it, and I don't want to see all the spoilers. I only recently saw the original Roadhouse. Should keep a fast, bro, and vlog it, show us. I was well fasted up in the hospital, because before general anaesthetic, you have to be nil by mouth. And that meant the surgery didn't happen day in, day out, which meant I fasted multiple times for over 24 to 40 hours. McGregor did pretty good. I've heard All the actual actors are wooden and boring and tedious, and McGregor's fun. At what BJJ belt should I start MMA? What do you want about? There is no requisite belt for MMA. John Jones didn't get his blue belt until he was a world champion and absolutely murked everyone in this division worth murking. What kind of a question is that? Just do MMA. Should do a podcast with Northeast MMA. Do they do podcasts? How do you... Oh, our milkshake is back. Nice. I don't know how to set up a podcast other than filming it and crawling it around. I might start the crawlcast. That's my idea. The crawlcast. Put the mic on, crawl around, and talk bullshit. It'd kind of be like the Jack Slack podcast, except I'll be crawling, and what I'll be saying is absolute shite. Thanks for all these various emoji type things. I don't know what they mean or are worth. Neither does anyone else. Best way to improve hip mobility? This isn't even an exercise. It's not for strength, it's not for nothing. This is just a position you should rest in. Here. Just squat. Simplest thing. If you struggle, just put your back against the wall for a bit. But the squat is a resting position. This will do more for your kicks and knees than all the redonkulous stretches you're going to see on YouTube. Then you can start to add internal, external rotation. Put your biscuit on the floor and touch your head to it. Get guests on the crawlcast. I don't think they'd be able to keep up with 90 minutes of crawling. You ever been up to Scotland? Yeah, I've been to Edinburgh. I was in Edinburgh a lot last year. One of my favourite places in the world. Bye, milkshake. Thank you. Have you played the Last of Us games before? I've played the first one, and I've heard there's too much forced walks in the second one for me to give a toss. The next thing we dip is going to be crazy. Dislocated my knee in January, so only just back boxing today. I don't know about the ins and outs of your injury, but if you've had a dislocation, everything's too loose. Build that strength in different ranges of motion and different angles. Don't just squat. Use that hamstring strengthening. Hamstring strengthening is huge. Played Sekiro 4 times on the PS4. And I completed it loads with a randomizer on a little Lenovo laptop. I hope McGregor is in more films and becomes this generation's Arnie. What would be brilliant about that is he would end up being a politician. And he'd be better than who we've got in now because they're idiots. Socks. We got SpongeBob and Patrick. And people always ask me, is there an interclub wherever? I don't have my brain full of interclubs. Interclubs are always happening. Dragon's Dogma looks sick. I've heard it's good. Is it Hideki Itsuno? Thoughts on Cage Warrior fighter Harry Hardley? That guy shouts banana when you're about to pull out at a junction and makes you stall. I hate that guy. Message on Facebook, please respond. I'll try and check, but Facebook, for me, because I am under the age of 45, is like the last line of messaging things that I check. Ever been to Belfast? Once, yes, when Harry fought Pasquale. I don't like Belfast. I walked around it Saturday at 8:30 and 9 o'clock, all around the city centre, and couldn't find anyone willing to serve me a steak. It was bizarre. I had to go back to the hotel, but the hotel steak was good. What's best? Insta here? Here's probably sound. Best hangover cure? I'm dying here, lad. You go to Lucky's and ask for scrambled eggs, and he will give you 12 eggs because it's scrambled eggs. Black pudding, and he will give you a full roll of black pudding because it's Lucky's, the finest place to dine in the universe. And bacon. And if you're lucky at Lucky's, he'll treat you to fancy treacle bacon he has to get rid of. Oh, that's too loud. I can't chew that. I need to dip it more. Best Muay Thai gym in the Northeast? Probably at the minute, Northern Kings. Craco's here. What round's Harry going to get it done? Let's say late 2 or 3. At least 3. Thoughts on George Staines? Very relentless fighter. I wanted to get a spar with him when I was sparring at Next Gen, but I got an injury in the second round. Favourite Mortal Kombat character? Probably Jax, just because of that one cutscene where he throws the guy off the cliff. Can I say that word? I don't know. I've never trained at Contender Gym. Favourite Witards product? The free samples and going overboard with it. Can you chew? Can't chew at all. Kurt Campbell, Pink Panther. I saw his last fight. It was sick. Not his last fight, it was the one before. He was on top of the guy for the full round. Didn't finish him with ground and pound. But then when he got up, I think it was a right Chizoku kick, like Chizoku Mawashi Geri, where he hit with the ball of the Patrick into the ribs. And he did some good damage to him. Well, it finished him. It just shows the power of body shots. This guy could take mounted ground and pound with elbows for a full round, 10-8. Then he takes his body kick, which isn't like, it's a big body kick, but he didn't wind his whole chutzpah into it. He didn't wind his whole chutzpah into it, and he just pinged it in, and the guy was like, I'm going ambitious next one. Cookies and cream squares bar. Don't know what's going to happen. Stay along for the ride, because shit's about to get messy. Here's the enjoyment though. Here is the enjoyment. Listen to this. Maybe it's hot enough. Maybe it's not. But maybe the mic ain't religious. I'm like a 4.5 on the agnosticism. Hopefully you can hear this. The snap, crackle, and the pops. Why aren't you eating healthy? Because my weight's kind of maintained and I'm doing a lot of general physical preparation where I'm doing a lot of exercise at the minute. I'm doing loads of volume, like a mini bulk. Because I don't have to worry about being fresh for rounds, I can do as much cardio, as much weightlifting as I want, as much crawling, as many farmers walks. So why not fuel up? Why not fuel up and feel good? Maintain the muscle and build the muscle more. If I have a skinny jaw, will it break easily? Maybe just don't keep it open. Ooh. But yeah, if you've got a skinny jaw, maybe get it broken and then get titanium in it, because no one seems to re-injure the jaw. Unless they do stupid things like eat squares bars. When do you think weightlifting is important when starting MMA? Well, it doesn't replace your training for MMA, but if you can't control your own body with a good amount of bodyweight squats, a good amount of bodyweight hip hinges, pull-ups, squats, push-ups, just forget about the weightlifting, because the closed chain kinetic movements, closed chain meaning your body's moving around a point rather than a point's moving around your body. Take a push-up versus a bench press. Push-up being closed chain, bench press being open chain. You're probably going to get a lot more from closed chain movements. They're probably going to carry over to grappling quite a bit more. And you'll get a lot more stabilization and core work and hip work and mobility, whatever. Focus on them first. And then outside of that, start to layer them in. But there's not a requisite amount of weightlifting you need to do before MMA. You don't have to do the Paulo Costa career path. Are you still at Cage Warriors and do you still have the belt? Yes, I do still have the belt. Depending on my injury recovery time frame, it might need to have an interim. I don't know. Is that sharp? Is what sharp? The squares bar? No, it's dipped. Oh shit, it's spilling. Shadowboxing high and body kicks, all clear. Any tips? First of all, good job that you're shadowboxing them. Shadowboxing kicks is brilliant, and no one wants to do it because they feel like idiots. But you're not going to land every kick. You're going to get more control by practicing shadowboxing the kicks. Basically, make sure that standing leg is pivoting through so that you're hitting with the top of the shin and you aren't just swinging the side of your shin all weird 1970s karate movie like. Pivot on the foot, take that big step out to the side, just as long as your foot's pointing out. That'll do good. And then think how you're recovering from it. Is it a J kick style whippy kick where you're just flicking it and bringing it out? If you're swinging it all the way through, how do you recover your stance? Generally, if you throw the kick, land on the ball of the foot of the kicking leg, stay on the ball of the feet of the non-kicking leg, and just pivot back. Ex-MMA fighter turned pro tea dipper and farmers walker. Pro farmers walk championships. That sounds so good. Ooh, muscle crisp. What happens if you microwave a mini egg? Only one way to find out. We should have a spar. I would get destroyed. You have a good chance on me at that point. Thoughts on UFC 300? I can't tell you the full card. It's one of the better cards in recent times. It'd be disappointing for Gaethje not to get a title shot, but it would be disappointing for Holloway to get sparked out by a big lightweight with some of the hardest hits in lightweight. I'm happy Jim Miller's on it. That's the main thing about UFC 300. That Jim Miller's on it. Nothing else in the universe around this event matters other than Jim Miller being on UFC 300. You think Jamal's going to win? I've got a good feeling about it. I don't know why. I've got a feeling he's going to win. But then he might just get his calf kicked off in like 3 kicks. What do you say, Dana, after your loss? I didn't see Dana after my loss. Oh, just going to disassemble. Oh, shit. I've spilt Horlicks everywhere. Holloway being vastly overlooked, I think he is. Yes, he is. Considering how little time he had to prepare for the Poirier fight, and how well he did, all things considered. He won 2 rounds. It was a very close round that decided it. Excited for Elden Ring DLC in June? No, not really. I couldn't get my head around Elden Ring. There was too much just waffling about, and no motivation to stick with any of the... My record is 12-2. Did you live off Cage Warriors pay, or do you have to do coaching? Yeah, coaching is needed. Just general side income things. Check out the Patreon. But I'm only a purple belt. How would I coach you to a black belt if I'm a purple belt? Doesn't make sense. I'm going to go Holloway for my final pick. If you've got an accumulator, everyone I say the opposite. I predicted Sean O'Malley would win a split decision against Petr Yan, and other than that, I'm wrong all the time. Did you go to college or university while training? Yeah, I went to Middlesbrough College first. I don't think I was training MMA at that point fully. Oh no, I was. And then I had some injuries and stuff that stopped me. I didn't train MMA through first and most of the second year in college, but I started again in third year. Damn, that squares bar fell apart in the tea. Opinions on Song Yadong. Brilliant athletic boy. I think he gets so much done by not necessarily having the most clever setups or getting the timing on people, but just by having a brick head and being so solid with his high guard that he's set. Even if he takes a leg kick, he's firing back or he's taking him down. Even if he takes a right hand, his left hook is so fast and it's going to do damage. He's not like the most complicated fighter, but he's so solid with basic kickboxing counters that he gets really good success off it. What age should I start MMA? 15, just about to turn 16. I'm 19. Should I start MMA? Been thinking about it for a while, but worried about potential CTE. You can do techniques for a while and don't feel push. Do techniques for a while and don't feel pressured into doing any live rounds for a while. You'll be surprised how much you could enjoy just doing techniques, maybe some grappling as well. If you really want to pursue it further because it's just in you, then start having sensible spars. Someone was trying to tell me the other day that this wasn't a rich tea biscuit, but it says rich tea on it. I guess it's a finger, not a full biscuit. Training camp anywhere in the world and why, outside of the usual Middlesbrough and around the northeast style. Fight Ready in Arizona sounds really good. Santino DeFranco is a legend. The most underrated cornerman in the UFC, in MMA history, is Santino DeFranco. He was the real brains behind the Cejudo, the Cejudo Magnificence run. Not Captain America. None of you will know what that's on about, except for one very special person. How can I pursue a career in coaching? So, it depends if you're just trying to purely coach MMA or have a mix of things like MMA, strength and conditioning, what have you. If you just want to coach MMA, you've got to spend an insane amount of time in MMA gyms if you're not wanting to fight yourself, helping people out so you get that reputation, or you've got to get in there and have fights to kind of prove yourself. And then it's how much you can sell yourself and build up your name, as much as it is about what you know. Even though it should always just be about what you know. Jesus, I'm a fucking scruff. Depends on the biscuit. I can put a rich tea in there for like 5 seconds and it's good. A Rington's Ginger Snap, that needs to be about 25 seconds before I can no chew it. Jaw is healing okay. It is okay. Just being very, very careful. No explosive herky-jerky movements. Everything's very stable. Farmers walk, crawls, and then very controlled resistance training movement. The Infinite T. It's a Horlicks, actually. Thought an MMA guru. I like MMA guru. He reached out to me after my loss, and he's given me 2 bits of advice. 2 bits of advice. I'm not going to tell you either of them, but I've listened really close, and I've been training them. Not currently, because my jaw's in a state, but when I could do rounds and train, I was really putting them into practice. But he's a good guy. Commented recently on a video about the Petty Yan, where I just rambled about Petty Yan for 20 minutes. No one watched it, but he popped up and just shared the spaffing love for Yan. In Yan, Umbasa and the Cosm we trust and bless. Optimistic or pessimistic after the Dana White's Contender Series loss? There was a bit of pessimism at first, but it needed to happen. What if I went in there as predictable as I was against a really, really high-level guy, just straight in, who had a much more of a humdinger of a punch, sparked me and I took serious damage. It was needed. I think as well I wasn't a particularly good person in managing my own ego. If I blew up, say a head kick landed and I blew up, got even more Instagram TikTokage, my head would have no clipped through my own arsehole. Am I going to Cage Warriors at the weekend? No, I'm going to Penrith and I'm going to walk around. The framing worked against shorter people. Yeah, I like to hear it. Arguello, motherfucker. Yodvicha, motherfucker. Where's Fedor Emelianenko in your all-time favourites list? In heavyweight, it's like a top 5. In all the weights, probably not that high up. I like bantams and flies. I like Dustin Ortiz. How many Cages Warriors gloves do you have? Probably 7,000. Pereira or Hill? See, I said Hill last time on this exact same stream, so now I'm going to say Pereira to mess with people, because I was just thinking about Pereira's calf kicks. 5'10", possibly, but I haven't checked since I've had half this Horlicks. There is so much shit at the bottom of this Horlicks. Right, we got like 3 questions, 3 minutes. Make your questions good, or keep it to your prostate. Pair of Kale's Hill round 3. That's a good guess. Maybe I would feel like I wouldn't know who had the advantage if it goes on, because I don't think either of them are going to spaff the load. Will I be at BFC at April 13th? Hell yeah, I will. We got some people on it. Gaethje or Holloway then? I think I'm going to go curveball and say Holloway. But who knows? If Holloway loses, it's hard to see him getting sparked quickly. If Holloway loses, it might be horrible. But then Holloway's using his footwork really intelligently. They're both using their footwork really intelligently. So who knows? There is so much shit at the bottom of this Horlicks. Are you going on any egg hunts this year? This Easter? Yeah, because I can melt an egg and eat it. I can wait, leave it, and then they'll sell them off cheaply. Because next week, all the chocolate will be the wrong shape next week. So they have to sell it cheaper, even though it's the same stuff. Would you fight on street beefs? If they give me a good whack of money that I could spend on my Sega Rally Machine funds, hell yeah. Right, where do I go? Noiri left K1. Where's Noiri now? I was going to pause this, but you have to tell me where Noiri is. Where's Noiri? Is he gone Rise? Please say he's gone Rise. If you say Noiri's gone to 1, I'm going to cry my dick off because they're going to shelf him. I'm going to find out where Noiri's gone. Chingiz Alazov, legend. But 1 are going to shelf him. Fuck 1.